right. Hello, and welcome back to Best in the Biz, the pod talking business with CNA entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Ian McDonald, and today with me is Aaron McInnis. So thank you, Aaron, for being on.
Thank you, Ian, for having me in.
Yeah, of course. So to get started, tell us a little bit about your business and all the things you have going on, because there's tons going on.
Yeah, so where do we start, right? How do we break it down to a nutshell? I am Aaron McInnis, and I am currently the baking and pastry arts instructor with College of North Atlantic. Kind of came into the position, a friend of mine mentioned it actually to the college, and they kind of sought me out. So it was pretty incredible. But prior to that, I own a business called, or I still own, I guess, a business called Vesus Cake. And what that is an international blog and teaching opportunity, I guess. I've been all over North America kind of teaching people. I've taught people as far as Qatar, here to Newfoundland, actually. Nope, my apologies. He came to Buffalo, New York for an event that I hosted out there. But I did host an event here in Newfoundland for 13 people from across North America.
Very cool.
A cake retreat, we'll call it. So that was Man versus Cake. I started my journey into entrepreneurship through Happy Belly Cakery, which is currently a custom order bake shop, but it was a storefront in CBS, or Conception Bay South, for those who don't know what that is. Yeah. And kind of built it from there. I opened the store when I was 23. I found myself unemployed. So what better to do than buy a business and jump in head first with zero experience and zero knowledge of business. But I'm very much a go-getter, and if I'm not going 150%, there's no point in doing it. So I built my business and career from nothing. I don't have formal culinary training. All trial error, lots of blood, sweat, and many tears.
Yep.
Along the way. But the passion for baking kind of came from mom. So growing up, mom was the baker of the family for all extended family. And so I was always in the kitchen with her and had a really strong desire to do it. But I went to university like we're supposed to. Or what we're told we're supposed to.
That's right. Yeah.
And found myself afterwards not really loving what I did. I got the degree. I have a degree in nutrition. I know, a bit opposite of what I do for a living now, but I do hold a degree in nutrition, and I've worked in healthcare. But it wasn't my passion. So I steered towards baking and kind of grew from there. I've answered the question so much about the business as much about me, but it's been a winding road of ups and downs, and working in healthcare and then working part-time as a baker and having a storefront, not having a storefront. So the path has not been the straight and narrow. It's certainly been the winding road and ups and downs, and taking opportunity as it comes. And that's kind of what has built me into the person I am, I guess, having all the different experiences from different things.
Yeah, and speaking of experiences and things like that, people might recognize you from the Food Network.
There's been a few.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that.
So I guess what really launched my desire to give up healthcare and become full-time into baking, and again, I should say, was I had the opportunity to participate on Spring Baking Championship Season 4. So that would have been back in 2018, I believe.
Okay.
First Canadian to ever compete, and only one on the episode, but also first to ever compete in the show's history.
Wow.
I went in as a uneducated, I guess, or untrained baker, and I competed against 10 other trained bakers, which was quite incredible. I made it to the top 5, so I can't complain there.
Yeah, it's a big accomplishment.
Made it a lot further than I wanted. I just wanted to make past the first episode.
There you go, yeah.
That's all I wanted. But I actually ended up winning episode 1. So I
Awesome.
won the first challenge, or the first major elimination challenge. So that was wonderful. But after that, it kind of opened my eyes to, that's where I want to be. And from that, I was fortunate enough to then compete on Christmas Cookie Challenge. And that's a one-off episode. So I ended up winning my episode of that as well.
Congratulations.
So thank you. Decorating Christmas cookies. So we had to, your first quick fire challenge type thing. And then the major elimination challenge, which we had to make a 3D fireplace out of cookies.
Oh, really? Sounds different.
And then after that, I was fortunate enough to get to compete on another show called Winner Cake All.
Wow.
So that only ever ended up with one season, but it was a one-off episode. We did not win. Unfortunately, filming outside in the heat of where we were and in a tent with a fridge not big enough to hold the 5-foot cake that we built,
Oh.
it ended up melting. As one could imagine.
What can you do there?
Yeah. So it is what it is. We had an incredible experience. And then finally I competed on the Big Bake Halloween on season 1 of that as well. So there's been lots of opportunity. I've passed up lots of other opportunities for shows because just the travel and
there's only so much
timing,
you can do.
right? Yeah, you can only juggle so many things at one time.
Yeah.
But win, lose, or draw, all of those opportunities have allowed me to meet some incredible people, friends that I've had now for years, and still connect with and watch their businesses grow and their families grow. And every time I'm anywhere near them, we'll try to connect and get together.
Yep.
But it's just been an incredible experience all around with those shows. So meeting celebrity chefs and that sort of stuff as well. So
Definitely. You're meeting some pretty interesting people.
Yeah,
no doubt.
definitely.
Yeah. And then bringing it back to, building those connections. You talked about being an instructor here at CNA. So did you want to tell us a little bit about what you do here at CNA and what the program has to offer?
Sure. So when I was contacted by the college to, potentially come out and work, they told me they wanted to revamp the program and build something that's more in line with Red Seal certification. I was hired to build the entire program. So the objectives had already been previously written and kind of looked over, but I have developed the entire program for the baking and pastry arts, from content creation and recipes and the programming delivery itself. And so now students come in and they'll learn everything from the basics in food safety and sanitation, health and safety, and your basics in breads, cookies, and cakes. And then we dive right into the advanced stuff. So we're getting into advanced cakes and cookies and pastries and croissants and you name it. If you've seen it in pastry, we've probably touched on it. We do chocolate work and sugar work and all that kind of fun stuff. But all in line with the Red Seal standards or national standards, so that students can then go out and gain their hours to be able to become Red Seals as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like a really great program.
It's fun. So we've really integrated ourselves into the community as well, because students have to bake no matter what. And I fortunately and unfortunately, I guess, have to eat everything they make. It's the only way they can be graded. So I do have to sample everything, but I can't eat all of it, and nor could they. So we have opened our doors to the community, and generally once a week we host a bake sale for donation purposes, where we'll take those funds and we'll bring it back to our program. Student emergency funds here on campus, student food bank on campus. We've donated stuff to some community groups as well who have helped with some fundraising efforts. And we also put into the student baking and pastry arts scholarship funds.
That's awesome. It's always great to give back to the community.
Absolutely. So that's the kind of thing, I wanted the program and the students to see what it means to support the community, because even as an entrepreneur and as a business, you've constantly got people coming at you, can I have a donation for this, or can you do that, or and you can't do everything. You can't, we're not charities, unfortunately, but we offer up help where we can. So integrating yourself into the community in many ways is important, whether that be you're doing a sale and part of your proceeds go to, or you're offering up time to go help volunteer with something, or, making yourself present and known is important, because your community is who supports you.
Exactly.
As a business and as an entrepreneur, that's who's ultimately paying your bills, right? Without them, you don't have a business. So I find community involvement very important, and getting students to realize that you can't do it on your own, right? It takes a village ultimately, as they say about raising children. It's no different than building a business. It takes a village to make that happen. Yeah,
that's right. And talking about students and also entrepreneurship, how have you, I guess, kept in touch with different students? And, over the years, have you seen a lot of students start their own businesses after the program? Are there any in particular that kind of jump out in your mind?
Yeah, so that's most students' aspiration, is to have their own business at some point when they jump out of school. I 10 out of 10 tell them I don't recommend it. Now or ever. No, I'm kidding. I do love it. It's a grind, and I'm very real with my students in telling them that if you are going to go down this road, know that you will be working, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no, 8 to 5 or 8 to 3 and get your 2 days off. Like, that's not how it works in business. Until you're very well established and can pay people to do the other things for you. I have another student who's working for a grocery store chain on the East Coast, and she just built an entire sourdough program for them. So she's making sourdough breads for them there. And like artisan sourdoughs, the baguettes, you're beautiful. She just came out with a molasses raisin version, and I'm real sad that she's really far away.
Yeah.
It's my favorite bread.
I'd
Make
like to try
sourdough
that.
and molasses raisin, and you've got a winner. But
Last year you published Man vs. Cake presents Happy Belly, the cake book. So because you're a blogger, I guess that was kind of a natural progression for you. How did that go? Tell us a little bit about it. Was it difficult, obviously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Happy Belly, the cake book.
Yeah.
I kind of presented, so it is, like you said, it is Man vs. Cake presents Happy Belly, the cake book.
Yep.
And that's so that it could potentially become a series of books. So
Okay.
it presents the cookie book or the pie book,
Gotcha.
or, a series of different books. For me, yes, blogging, I've kind of fallen off the bandwagon of blogging. I'm well behind on that, but it was more a bucket list thing.
Okay.
The whole origin story behind the book kind of came about as I was down in our former home. Instead of renting the apartment, it was registered as a business. It was a bakery. So, the kitchen was the kitchen. The living space was the prep area.
Yeah.
And I was down in there, and I just came to me. I said, I got to write a book. So I wrote out the entire index of the book, ultimately, of what it was going to include and what I wanted in it and how it was going to be laid out. And I went upstairs to my wife, and I said, I'm going to write a book. And at this point in life, she's just like, sure. Like,
Yeah.
she just goes along with it because she knows if I say I'm going to do it, at some point I'm going to end up doing
It's
it.
going to happen.
Yeah. But that book is really how I built my business. So the idea of it is to take away the people are scared of baking, ultimately, right? So I wanted to make it easy for people. I wanted people to understand that you don't need 100 recipes to make 100 different things. If you have 2 great recipes, you can make 100 things from that. And coming back to Food Network and getting the opportunity to meet some incredible people, the book the foreword was written by one of the celebrity judges who I became friends with after
Very nice.
one of the shows. So,
That's a nice little addition
you make
there.
these connections with people, and Kimberly Bailey out of the Butter End in Los Angeles
Okay.
wrote the foreword for the book for me. So it was quite incredible.
Yeah, very cool.
To me, all of these opportunities and things I've done or had the opportunity to do are a lot of bucket list items for me.
Yeah,
They're just things
exactly.
I wanted to do.
Yep.
Not for anyone else's acknowledgement, not for anybody else's pat on the back, not
Yep.
for any of that. It was because I wanted to do it, and okay, I've done it. Check. Now let's move on to what's the next thing on the list.
Exactly.
What's the next great opportunity that I can look for?
Yeah,
Find.
doing it for yourself.
Yeah, and that's what keeps me driven for this industry. Because if I was doing the same mundane thing every day, I'd have checked out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right. I have to keep myself interested in wanting to do it.
Yep. No, that makes total sense. It definitely keeps you more driven. Right?
Well, new things. Like I
Yeah.
love a good challenge.
Yeah,
a
for sure.
good challenge, and I thrive. Like the competition shows, for example.
Yeah.
Like those clocks when they say clock starts now and you have 2 hours. You have 2 hours. None of
In
that's
the
fake for
zone.
TV. Like it's when you put your hands up and you watch it fall over, and you have to stand there and watch it fall over. That's the life of the game. But I thrive in competition. I'm fortunate enough now in my career and in my business to be able to take on opportunities that I want rather than take on all opportunity. When you first open your doors, you're taking everything to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Working 22-hour days to get through it. You're sleeping in your desk chair, and not speaking from experience at all. But there's the book, there's Food Network, there's the travel across North America. I had a business partner out of New York as well, and we hosted cake retreats where we brought people from all around the world together to just literally have a week of cake learning and baking and just exploring where we were staying and wining and dining and that sort of thing, which was incredible. People I've met, I had the opportunity to create a show for, so I wrote and hosted a show for Bell 5 TV. So all these opportunities, I look back and go, wow, that's incredible. And it's all within a fairly short time span. I'm not a very old person. I'm only 36, and all these opportunities have kind of fell into my lap, but not without the work. People just assume it all comes your way, and here you're so lucky. But trust me,
There's
the
a lot.
hours and the work that was put in to get to where I am, and it's been a ride.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you seem to be juggling a lot of things. Are there any tips or tricks for anything like that? There's
You just
instructing the business, family.
Yeah, so I
That's a
have
lot.
3 kids and a wife as well, and who's currently in nursing school, and she's almost out to be working full time as a nurse. So the juggling act is getting a little harder.
Yep.
But the kids are getting older, so that becomes a little easier. And I now have one who can drive, so he does some of the dropping off and picking up of the younger ones. So
Perfect.
that's great. But the tips and tricks, you just have to want it. You know, like there's really no magic. There's no magic solution or formula, or it's going to take effort, right? And which is why I tell students when they come in that, you know, and anyone I work with when I mentor them, because I've mentored people everywhere, is that if you don't have the passion and drive to do this, that's okay. You know, not everyone is destined to be a business owner. Not everyone is destined to be, um, an entrepreneur of things. You know, you can be an incredible employee for people.
That's right. Yeah.
Because businesses need incredible employees as well. So, you know, striving to be a great employee is still something great to strive for. But if you're going to go down the entrepreneurial route, you need to have the drive, the determination, and know that you're not going to sleep very often, right? You're going to be working all the time. You're going to be answering emails when you're trying to get sleep, or you're going to be at work from 7:45 to 3:30, 4 o'clock every day. Then you're going to go home and you're going to do things with the kids, and then you're going to work that evening. And it's not uncommon that people in my business get emails from me at 1 o'clock in the morning.
So one of the last questions here, you built quite a brand for yourself. So any tips or tricks for marketing yourself, someone that's just getting started?
The best thing I can say is be real. So fortunately and unfortunately right now, I'm not on as many social medias as I used to be because it's just that in itself is a full-time job.
Definitely.
Every time you turn around, there's a new social media popping up, or the rules have changed, or the
true.
algorithms have changed, or all of those things. So I used to be on 12 different pages across all the platforms between my personals and businesses.
Wow.
And all those things, because the Cakery was separate from Man versus Cake, and then you have your Facebook and your Instagram and your YouTube and your TikTok, and you have that for each one of them, and then you're trying to keep up. It's a full-time job, so I'm down to just one. I've cut them all out for the time being. But when you're on those platforms, one of the biggest things, I guess, that was the stressor for me was trying to constantly be better than the next person, or trying to be the next big thing, or get that viral video, and being, depending on what your business is, cool viral video. But in Canada, we don't make money on viral videos.
That's right.
Opportunities come up, sure, from that type of stuff, but you don't make kickbacks on views and those types of things. So striving for almost the unrealistic, right? And then that constant pressure of that, and always watching the views. Oh, look, this one got this many, and this one got that many, and well, what did they do different than what did I do? But really, what I found most successful in all of my platforms over all the years was being real. I am a human. I have children. If I couldn't meet a deadline, I've never not met a deadline. But if I had promised a live video and something came up, sorry guys, something came up with the kids. It's not going to happen tonight. We'll reschedule for another time. People appreciate that because they see that behind the social media and the name and you are human.
That's right. Yeah.
And just trying to connect with people on that level, and the behind the scenes stuff. People love behind the scenes stuff. They'd like to know how you get there.
100%.
Like, when people show up to pick up their cake or you deliver it, all they see is the finished product.
Yeah.
How did you get there? And that is actually another thing that kind of spiraled my business, was when my oldest turned 10. It was right around the time that all these 100-layer challenges were coming out on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So like 100 shirts, 100 layers of nail polish or lipstick or makeup, or all those things were kind of big.
Yeah.
And when I went to him and I said, well, okay, what do you want this year for your birthday? And he said, well, I want a 100-layer cake.
Oh, no.
And I said, are you for real? He said, yeah. He said, well, if anybody can do it, you can. I said, all right, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
So again, I like a good challenge. So I set out to do that. So I literally, from beginning to end, live streamed that entire process, from mixing the batter, mixing the icing, making the cakes, trimming them so that they were all evenly 100 layered, and then the assembly, decorating, and delivery of that cake.
Wow.
It was actually technically a 200-layer cake because it had 100 layers of cake and 100 layers of icing in it.
Oh, my God.
And it stood from base to top 5 feet. It was a lot of cake. It was a lot of cake.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so it was a 5-tier cake. I do have a time-lapse video. The time-lapse alone is 13 minutes. of the whole process on
Wow.
YouTube. But it was all live stream. So every evening I'd come home from work because I was working in healthcare at the time.
Yep.
And I would go live and I would do some section of it, or whether we were baking tonight or we were making icing, and then I live streamed. And there were people waiting and anticipating every day to come back and watch the process and where we got to. And it was insane. So that kind of spiraled some of the social media aspect, but it was behind the scenes stuff that people love.
Yeah, that's so
seeing
cool.
how it happened.
Yep.
And then it had to be delivered on the back of a transport truck or not transport truck, the back of a pickup truck because it wasn't fitting in the car.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it was pretty insane. And we were sending kids home with hunks of cake. Take this to your family because we'll never eat it all.
Yeah, can't get through this.
Yeah, there was 75 kids at the party, but at the same time, they weren't eating enough to feed 600 because that's about what the cake would have fed.
Wow.
But anything for our kids, I guess.
There you go. Yeah.
Their cakes have become a lot less elaborate over the years. They don't. To my children now, baked goods aren't something special, right? They're not a treat. They're not. They don't. Their birthday cakes to them, like they want more simple now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been doing it for so long, and there was a bakery in our house for so many years, and they could just walk down over the stairs and get cake scraps or a cookie that broke or whatever.
Yeah.
So to them, it's always been accessible. Or when I had the shop, they would stop in on their way home from school or from whatever activity and grab a cake pop or a cupcake or
Yeah, exactly.
that stuff to them is normal. But when they ask for something, we do what we can for our kids.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Even stupid things like making a 100-layer cake.
all in fun.
All in good fun. But no, social media is how I grew my business. I don't have. I paid for the odd marketing through it, odd ad here and there, but I have built my entire career off of the backs of, Facebook and Instagram to this point. So you just have to be consistent and you have to be, in my opinion, real.
Yep.
Because if you're striving for the unrealistic, that's what is the pitfall for most.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So that's all the questions I have today. Good spot to leave it is your socials. Would you like to share your socials?
So right now, the only one you can find me on is Facebook, and it's under Happy Belly Cakery.
Okay.
So that's more so just if you wanted a custom order or any custom orders I've been doing. I do share some stuff from the school from time to time from the students on that social. But right now, I'm pretty inactive on social media because of all of the irons in the fire.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that, I have an opportunity again to work with Bell. So hopefully there's something more coming through that. But
Awesome.
Right now, just the one.
Hey, perfect. Well, thanks for coming on, Aaron. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure chatting about my crazy life. When I try to tell people what I've done, they just kind of look at me like, how, where, when. So, trying to let people understand how it all happens is great. So thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, thank you. Really appreciate it. Here are some pointers for my chat with Aaron. Number 1, start from scratch. No pun intended. As an instructor, some of Aaron's students come in with zero baking experience. The same is true for aspiring entrepreneurs, but you can learn what you don't know. Everyone starts somewhere, and you have to grind before you can thrive. 2, you need to want it. Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. There is no magic solution for business success. It requires effort, long working hours, and the drive to bring your vision to life. If you want to start a business, be prepared to put in the work. Number 3, be real. Aaron's built his career through social media. On social, there's a lot of pressure to go viral. Keep up with the latest trends and platforms, and be better than the next person. Aaron's advice is to stay realistic about what you can achieve. And as far as social media is concerned, he found the most success being his authentic self. You don't always need to be perfect, just be you. Bonus tip, community support fuels business success, and you can find community right here with CNA's Entrepreneurship Hub. Visit cna.nl.ca/entrepreneurship for more info.